Well, the Motilal Oswal's 26th Wealth Creation Study, every wealth creation study is a much awaited event, and now we have the 26th Wealth Creation Study, which will be presented today. To give us a peep into that excellent study, Ramdev Agarwal, the chairman and co-founder of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, is with us. You know, I tried to summarize the report, but it is such a good report that it is best that everyone read it. Aside from the fact that, you know, Reliance is one of the largest wealth creators, 9.6 trillion rupees created in the last 5 years, beats its own record. Then they speak about fastest wealth creators, consistent wealth creators. So it has a lot of this usual tables to offer. But the meat of this time's wealth creation study is how to value a digital company. How are digital companies different from brick and mortar companies? But it is phrased very well. He calls them atoms, the old companies, the legacy companies, and he calls the digital companies bits. So it's a transformation or a journey from atoms to bits, right? Ramdev, is that the theme of your study, the big theme?
Yeah, it's very well put by you. And good morning, viewers. And, you know, it's a pleasure to come here in studio and talk to all of you. So, you know, this atoms to bits is the concept first spoken by Nicholas Negroponte in 95 book of Being Digital. That's actually very visionary book. If you read that book, 95 book, I read it now.
Yes.
It feels as if that book is written a year back. So, you know, visionary he is. He's still around, you can see his videos. So, he wrote about how the digital economy is going to get, the economy is going to get transformed on the back of digital phenomenon, you know, where you can automate everything and it can be instantly replicable. See, what is the difference between atoms and bits? Say like a book is there. Physical book is atoms. But when it becomes Kindle edition, it becomes, my report is physical and digital is digital. So the moment you are physical, if I give a copy to you, the copy stays with you, not with me. Okay. So that is one. So you can have copies to all the 7 billion population in the world and still you can have your copy. That is the power of bits. Second, marginal cost of the bits companies or bits products are literally zero. So first it takes a lot to produce that product, say $1 billion, $2 billion to make that first copy. Say Microsoft Excel or something, it might cost billions to make it. But the next copy is zero cost. So what happens is that when you are at say 1,000 copies or say first 100,000 copies, your marginal cost is very high. But the moment it scales up, the marginal cost is zero. So if you are selling at say $20 and your cost is 40, for some time it looks like a very loss making, 50% loss. Then suddenly the marginal cost comes down to say 10 or 5. Then that $20 remains $20 and your cost goes to 10. So then suddenly you explode with profit. Look at India Mart. It had 4 years back, it had 45% negative EBITDA. Now it is 45% positive PAT. Forget about EBITDA.
In fact.
So that's the kind of shift. So this is, I mean, every company is not going to go through like that. But, you know, but that's the potential.
No, Ramdev, I get that point. Good morning. And first of all, you know, as you said, it's so good to have you in person in our studio. And I hope that remains the case. So you talk about digital business. Design is about business first, design second, and digital third.
Yes.
But that's the tough part, right? How many India Marts are there? Because so many digital companies are loss making. We don't know if and when they will turn profit making.
So that's, see, you hit the nail. A bad business with a 100% digital thing, they are just about .com. It doesn't mean anything for the stock market. Because finally you are valuing the future profits. So making profit, whether you are digital or non-digital, is extremely important. That cannot, that's where the you know, kind of the old and new connects. That valuing company is same. It's about the anticipating the future profit. So if you are digital, highly digital, but you are not making profit, you are not likely to make profit. Your value should be zero. You know, so a bad business design with a full digitality is also zero. And but if you have a very good business design and you are on a digital quotient is low, still you are valuable.
Ramdev, in the Indian context, do we have digital businesses? Do we have, and you know, another word which gets thrown around is platform businesses.
Platform business,
right?
The same.
Are we talking about, because here companies are, as you said, the marginal cost drops to zero after a couple of years. I mean, it becomes very low, whereas profitability explodes. But here, that's the big question, right? Because companies are burning money in the hope that they will reach there at some point. So apart from India Mart, could you, I mean, just to focus on which set of companies or what kind of companies are we referring to here when you talk digital?
Yeah. So Prashant, the journey started in US in '95 with Amazon. Okay, and because their digital infrastructure was much more ready, say 15 years back, our digital infrastructure got ready in 5-7 years. So private equity investment started in this space 7-8 years back. Now is the time when these companies are going public one by one. So in 2021, one or two, Nazara and all those companies. Now you are seeing the main line. I mean, there are 3 listings of a lakh crore plus each. So this is now Indian digital rush is starting, gold rush kind of thing, and hundreds of companies will come. And of that, every segment have one winner. Now, who is going to be that winner? Which segment is going to become big? Like banking. Banking fundamentally is very large. NBFCs, like you're talking about 2-3 lakh crores of profit now, and in 10 years it will be 5-6 lakh crores of profit from that segment. Now, who is going to be the winner? You don't need 20 banks. You need 4-5 banks. And the first bank, say like SBI itself in the old economy is like 20-25% of market share. But the digital bank, which will have 20-25% of market share, you can imagine what kind of profit they'll make.
Okay, no, that part I got. But even then, as you say, you know, value has the Nykas, the Zomatos. How would you know which is the next Zomato?
Yeah, so that's the
trick. What is the touchstone?
Yeah, so that's the one statement I can say is the winner of the genre is grossly underpriced, and the loser is grossly overpriced. Sorry, loser is grossly overpriced. Now the difference is who is going to win. Yes. So that we have given a 4-5 parameters, like how big is the market opportunity. Second is you know, what kind of gross margin they have. Okay. Third is what is the quality of execution. What are the unit economics? So when all 5-6 parameters are there, the probability of that company winning is extremely high. But at the end of it is execution. The difference, like IT.
Execution and unit economics, I guess.
Yeah, execution. Fundamentally, in early 90s, the opportunity for all the IT companies was same. For Infosys, Satyam, DSQ, I mean, you name the company, hundreds of companies came. But who survived? Only 4 of them.
But isn't it, so what you're referring to isn't it execution? Because unit economics for an industry, like for example, take delivery. I mean, 50% between, 50-50 between Swiggy and Zomato. The unit economics will move broadly similarly, right? Because both are competing against each other as well.
Not necessary. You can have digital, what do you call, breakthroughs, whereby you can beat completely other guy hollow down. I mean, few years here and there. And you'll see those differentiations coming in. And then, in digital companies, what happens is, see, you can horizontally explode, I mean, in the same genre. Second is you can go horizontally also.
So multiple S-curves. I think that was the best chapter. Yeah. The multiple S-curves. And you can be very good in delivering food, and then you use it to deliver groceries.
Yeah. So then
you use it to deliver medicine.
Now Swiggy is saying that I want to go into delivery of groceries and bring down my unit cost of delivery. Zomato, on the other hand, saying that I will stick to deliveries only.
Strategies are diverging now.
Slowly it will diverge. You know, tomorrow somebody might come into delivering medicine. Somebody might deliver some category which other guy cannot even think. So companies will in 10 years time will look very different.
Okay. So Ramdev, you know, this is one question that always, you know, bothers me. For all of these companies, the main point is data, right? And that the data is being provided by the telecom companies. So, for example, something like a Bharti, you know, has such a huge first mover advantage, or a Jio, you know, why could they not create, you know, say a Swiggy, you know, why could Bharti not be the first mover in Swiggy? Why could they not be, you know, first mover in, say, something like an Uber? Or can they do that? They'll have an inherent advantage of data, right?
Yes, I mean, see, data is just a pipe in the sense that
but it's an important part.
It is very important part. Yes. Everybody is driving through the telecom companies only. I mean, particularly wireless internet.
Because if tariffs double, then what happens?
Yeah. So, but then the cost of setting up that network is extremely high. Government takes disproportionate size. 30%, what is the take rate for most of the digital companies, is the take rate of government in telecom companies. I mean, 30-35% of the gross revenue goes to the government by way of whole lot of charges. Okay. Then you have the infrastructure which is expensive, in the sense that towers are being set up, the sales marketing channel and all. So yes, that was the first digital company. In fact, I bought and made money in Bharti in 2003 as the first network companies out of India. But then somewhere the competitive landscape changed completely, and we had this 10 years of lost decade for the entire industry. But I think next 10 years looks to be very exciting, because now competitive landscape has become very concentrated.
Ramdev, we have to ask you how to value these companies. That would be a very important question. And second, what about the atom companies? Which of them are still in this place? Those two questions after the break.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Well, we are in this special conversation with Ramdev Agarwal on wealth creation, and of course we have been discussing the digital area of the market, which is something which is creating perhaps the next big opportunity. Ramdev, you presented some interesting case studies. I think the most exciting one is Zomato. Just going through the table that you have presented in terms of the opportunity size and in terms of how the contribution per order, which was minus 33 in last fiscal, has gone up already to 19 in positive this fiscal. Any models available in terms of, how this can grow, and whether, we have only two players right now, two big players, but, if this is the kind of business, obviously there will be more competitors as well going forward.
That's where the winner takes it all characteristic of digital businesses are. The moment you scale up, your marginal cost keeps coming down, and the other guy who starts, his marginal cost starts from very high. It is very tough to compete because his delivery cost, a new guy will start, his delivery cost will be $100. US is already at 40, 45 or whatever. And if you increase the per hour delivery from say 1.5 to 2.5 or 3, then your delivery cost goes down from say 40 to 20, whereas your charges are say $60. So suddenly your profit will explode, and by that time this guy, and it is not possible without a scale. So I think these are all imaginative things, because we can look at global digital companies, the success of it, but that is with a perfect hindsight. What we have to bring today to find the winners is the perfect foresight, which is not there.
Absolutely.
That's why there's a risk, and that's where you need margin of safety. You can't pay the massive prices.
There is margin of safety in the atom companies. Okay.
Of course.
So which of them will benefit by this digital explosion? I think you point out to IT companies as winners also.
Yeah. So this is a center of the entire report. Who are the beneficiaries? So one angle you have the digital companies, which have very big business design, and they are going to go to the right side, and they will become digital as well as very strong in the business design. There are companies which have very strong business design, but their digital quotient is low. So the guys who go up on digital quotient, they will win. So these are two. Third, which are surest possible winner, big winner, are the IT companies, who are the digital enablers, and not only for Indians, but actually for the world. And the guy who is losing, to him also he is giving service. The guy who is digital transformation is doing, him also he is doing. The guy who is going from digital to DBD, so everybody is his client all over the world. And that's why TCS, Infosys, they have a tremendous future as this world transits in next 15-20 years from a much more atoms kind of architecture to more phygital. Very few will be complete digital, but the bulk of the world will be phygital, where actual delivery will be physical, but the enabling environment will be digital.
Just a quick word on how, which are the most important financial parameters to look at, because people say, well, look at Amazon in '99. They were loss making. Look at what the company has done now. But I think Amazon from the beginning was positive. They were making free cash flows, right?
Yes,
I mean, they were.
Yes. Cash flow.
So, is there something to look at when you look at loss-making companies now, which may turn around in the future? Some way to gauge the financial potential going forward, looking at numbers today.
Yeah. So every company is different. Every company is unique. I mean, of course, the type of delivery companies have some similarity, but say India Mart is very different. Then your Nykaa is very different. But Nykaa is still, you can say, it's a digital commerce company. But then they are very specialized in particular segment. So their economics are very different, and their first mover advantage are there. So their own brand equity distribution is going to play. So every company I find at this juncture is unique, and I mean my own experience is limited. I mean we have the data from all over the world, but the world is different from India. The world from where it is coming is $50,000-$60,000 per capita income. So their affordability of many things and the order size is very different. Here we have 1.4 billion people, but very little in the pockets for the consumers to really splurge. So, but then digital is about reaching the inclusive, very inclusive. It is like the banks which have not been able to reach the tier 4, tier 5, the digital economy can reach there. So the banks and financial services, which are there are two segments in Indian, if you see our report, tech and financial services. Both have the highest,
dominating.
top rated profit share and hence the market share. I think those segments will become even bigger. Like in 2000 IT was 1% of the total corporate profits. Today it is 24% of the total corporate profits.
Actually, I was going to come to that question.
Yeah.
How will your top 10 wealth creators look 5 years from now? How many, will they be digital dominated? Which of the old economies will continue?
Yeah, so my sense is of the top 10 largest wealth creating, see among the fastest, I think 27, 28, it will be dominated, predominantly it will be by digital.
Okay.
Like 50-60% of the companies will be digital. But since we have started with slightly higher valuations and we're just about starting, my sense in next wealth creation study, which will be 27, 28, this is 21, so 21, 5, 6. So 6 will not be that glaring, but 27 onwards, you will start seeing 2 companies, 3 companies from digital space. But 10 years out, in 2032, I won't be surprised, 8 out of 10 largest wealth creating will be digital companies.
Okay. Ramdev, just one last question. Where do companies like, say, Asian Paints fit in here? Because, you can't digitally paint your house. You'll have to paint your house. But you can choose, online. You can have models. I think some companies are making investments in that. Have you given any thoughts?
Yes, yes. See, business models are not going to change. Only the digital way of delivering. See, Asian Paint is most digital in the sense that among the paint companies.
Exactly.
And that's why they are ahead and they gain market share from nowhere in last 20-25 years. Digital means they were able to use the best of the inventory management, best of the customer relationships and painter relationship. Those kind of things they did. Maybe they did it very manually. They didn't use the digital power. But now I'm sure these kind of companies will use the digital power all the way. You see, paintings will remain chemical, it will remain physical.
Yeah.
But how do you use the digital prowess to connect with your customer, connect with your whosoever matters in the process? How do you manage your inventory efficiently? So those are the things where digital thing comes, and that gives you 10x productivity in those segments. See, what happens is the productivity. I mean, if I have a 60 days inventory and you have 6 days inventory, it gives a massive gain. I can price myself much lower and earn the same margin.
Is it so like Asian Paints or existing companies with very long track records who are pivoting to digital?
Yeah.
Is that a more kind of safer way to access the digital theme as compared to purely digital startups who may have kicked off 4-5 years back, limited track record, but in a way you're investing on people, a story, a market size, etc. What's your sense?
See, digital guys have no money. They don't have business model. The existing guys, they have money and business model and customer.
Exactly.
So they are struggling to become digital. The digital companies are struggling to become profitable. So when this northeast, that right hand top corner, the guys, this side guy will come here and the business model guys will come up, and whosoever makes it in that northeast corner, they are the guys who are the winners, biggest winners. And the guys who don't make it to that, the dot-com companies will fall to irrelevant, and say like any other businesses in the last 30-40 years, so many businesses have gone by fallen by the wayside. That's what is going to happen to the lot of very profitable today's companies to become irrelevant.
Fair point. Well, actually, you have whetted our appetite, and I must tell our viewers that it is 60 pages of brilliantly analyzed stuff. There are also the smartest, the fastest, the largest wealth creators, and there is this excellent chapter on atoms to bits, which will explain how the world is transforming into digital companies, or value is migrating to digital companies, and how we should identify and value them. So there's a lot to read at that. Thank you very much, Ramdev, for joining in and explaining, giving us a peep into what's a very great study. Right up at Bazaar, there's of course Chartbusters lined up for you.